You're 12 years old with 7 badges in hand. All that stands between you and the Elite Four is the final gym leader. Giovanni takes the stage, but instead of his normal, confident demeanor, his face is darkened with evil intent. You will be the first to test my new power. It's then that you notice behind him a looming shadow. It moves swiftly and the battle that ensues is brutal as each one of your Pokemon are quickly beaten back. You flee from the monstrous Pokemon that you now recognize as Mewtwo from the documents you had read in Team Rocket's headquarters. Your journey is over as you return home frightened. Giovanni, now confident in his strength, heads for the Elite Four. He easily becomes champion and quickly takes over all of Kanto. With Mewtwo at his side, Giovanni has won. With his goals now complete, he set his sights even higher for their new project, codenamed Genos. The success of cloning the mythical Pokemon Mew into Mewtwo had only increased his desire for power. If cloning a single mythical Pokemon could give me this much power, imagine how much more power 3 or 4 more ultimate Pokemon would give me. If we look at the generally accepted Pokemon world map, you might think Giovanni would go straight to Johto for his next target since there'd been word of a mythical Pokemon with the ability to travel through time. But instead, being the smart and methodical leader he is, Giovanni headed to Hoenn, where word of a Pokemon that could grant any wish had been heard. While he would take on the mission in Hoenn himself, he sent a team to the Sinnoh region for a second phase of Project Genos to begin. After arriving in Hoenn, Giovanni set out to clone the mythical Pokemon Jirachi, and while finding it would be incredibly hard, his research had uncovered another way to get its DNA. You see, Jirachi's appearance as well as its power are tied to the Millennium Comet, which appears in the night sky for 7 days only once every 1,000 years, and unfortunately this event had happened just recently. Though remnants of a piece of a crystal cocoon said to have held Jirachi were being kept at a local museum. So, after a quick visit to Slateport and taking everything in the museum, the scientists had found enough DNA, as well as cosmic debris from the comet, to create a second clone. What have you created for me, Dr. Fuji? Sir, with the DNA we had from Jirachi, the comet shards, as well as using various parts of local psychic Pokemon's DNA like Gardevoir, we've managed to create Giratwin, the miracle Pokemon. Just like the original, this Pokemon's head is shaped as a star, with ribbons coming off 3 points. It shares similarities in size and shape to Gardevoir, giving it a more graceful and malevolent presence with flowing robes. The eye on its chest is always open due to being infused with comet shards, as we created this Pokemon with the sole purpose of granting its trainer's wishes. For this same reason, its senses have been reduced to remove its eyesight, boosting its psychic power even more so that it can see the world around it. In our tests of Giratwin, it has shown us a new move that we've named Malevolent Wish. It seems to function the same way that the move Wish does when used on itself, as well as increasing its defenses, but when used on an opponent, the move acts as its original's Doom Desire. I will warn you, sir, because of its wishing power only being possible from the comet shards we collected, and its increased psychic power, the wishes are limited in power and can't be used constantly. Proud of the newly created Giratwin and unbothered by these constraints, Giovanni looked directly at its opened eye and made his first wish. Take us to Unova, Liberty Island immediately. With a flash, they found themselves on an island with a tall lighthouse. Satisfied with the success of the wish, he flipped open his phone and dialed his other crew. How goes the mission? I see. We just arrived in Unova ourselves. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Well, when you're finished there, make sure to meet us in Alola. We'll be done here shortly. Looking back at Giratwin, Giovanni asked, "Can you bring me the Pokemon Victini?" Giratwin thought for a second and shook its head, the eye on its chest glowing briefly. Suddenly, Fuji chimed in. "How about a large pile of freshly made macarons?" Intrigued, Giovanni nodded, and so Giratwin's eye glowed bright once more, summoning the macarons, their warm scent filling the air. After quickly concealing themselves, Fuji and Giovanni watched as a curious red and tan Pokemon eventually appeared floating about. After not seeing anyone nearby, it rushed the pile of macarons joyfully, but before it could reach it... Several days later in the Alola region, Fuji approached with a newly created clone. Sir, the Victini clone is finished, and we've started cloning Manaphy from the captured Fione. Giovanni smiled, thinking back to the report he was given of his team capturing several Fione in the Sinnoh Seas. The plan had been to catch the Pokemon Manaphy, as it was the time of year the mythical Pokemon would often travel through that area. But with everything else going to plan, he decided some Fione as well as an egg would suffice. The sound of a Pokeball snapped him back to the present, and what stood before him burned with power. This is Victwice, the genetic victory Pokemon. Its angry look made Giovanni smile. Its proportions are more humanoid and its body is bigger than Victini, but this is so that it can withstand the amount of burning energy coursing through its body. It craves battles so that it can show off its full power and burn off some of that heat. It's constantly trying to antagonize Mewtwo, as though it somehow carried resentment from the part it played in its creation. The glowing pulsing energy radiating around its body burns hot and bright when it's in battle. Its new ability, Victory Cheer, increases its attack by 2 stages after defeating a Pokemon, as well as lowering its evasiveness due to the pride and ego it has. Its signature move, V-Burst, is a slightly weaker 130 base power but more accurate and controlled version of V-Create, lowering just its defense and special defense by 1 stage after use. You wanna fight? The words caused Victwice's flames to pulse. Then I have a mission for you. His plans were nearly complete, he just needed one more. In a cave somewhere on Alola, a fight had ensued. The small but fearsome Pokemon Marshadow versus the newly created Victwice. Confident in his plan for his final clone, Giovanni walked towards the large aquarium where Fuji was waiting to unveil the newest member of Giovanni's team. Due to not having the original, I had to infuse the egg's DNA as well as some other aquatic Pokemon's DNA to fill in what was missing in Fione's, but I think what we've created is a marvel, sir. Here is Manatide, the Ocean Soul Pokemon. While our bodies are made up of 60% water and Manaphy or Fione are 80%, this Pokemon is made up of 90% water, giving it an almost transparent liquid form. It shares some physical resemblances with Manaphy from the gem in its chest to its main body's shape, but it also has a cape-like feature that resembles Mantine. The crown of golden circles on its head comes from the egg from which it was hatched. Its new ability, Aqua Essence, allows Manatide to recover health when making contact with water. It gains evasiveness boosts in the rain and cannot be burned. With a special attack of 165, it has the same attack power as Mega Gardevoir and nearly the same as Ultra Necrozma. It also still has the signature move Tail Glow, making this one of, if not the most powerful addition to the team. This design came out fantastically, and I think the effect of it being made out of water was done so well. Not to mention, its tropical water shiny is a subtle but fantastic addition. Suddenly, the door to the lab burst open and in flew Victwice, smiling with pride as he dropped the unconscious body of Marshadow at Giovanni's feet. It's finally time. Before long, the entire Pokemon world knew of Team Rocket and what they had been doing. They were no longer a small band of criminals, but an unstoppable superpower. Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Alola, Unova had all fallen under the control of Giovanni. His superpower team swept through their champions and their leaders. Sinnoh was up next on the list to conquer, and Team Galactic had fallen easily to their newest and final clone. Giovanni watched on as the champion of Sinnoh, Cynthia herself, and her team struggled against the punches filled with rage. Marshadow had been an excellent final choice, as almost no one knew of its existence, and its clone was nearly unstoppable. Zen Shadow. Zen Shadow has the ability to constantly stay in Zen mode, which is the form Marshadow takes when in the heat of battle. Its constant burning rage fuels its ghostly punches. The more this Pokemon fights, the stronger it becomes, learning more techniques and applying them to its fighting style. With an attack stat of 156 and a speed of 150, this Pokemon can back even the fiercest opponents into a corner. Not to mention its new signature move, Spectral Strike, which allows Zen Shadow to hit with priority 3 times, ignoring Substitute. So while the attack may only have a base power of 30, it has 3 chances to hit a critical strike, and it's 100% accurate, meaning it's a slightly stronger, slightly slower extreme speed. Paired with the ability Adaptability, this Pokemon is a monster. Not only is it fearsome in fighting, but due to always being in Zen mode, it has a lot more color than Marshadow and is absolutely gorgeous. Its shiny is also a striking purple and blue, leaning heavily into the ghost typing. With a final strike, Garchomp fell, and with Cynthia defeated, Giovanni had gained control over half the Pokemon world. But he wasn't finished. There were more Mythicals, more clones to create, more regions to control. Like and subscribe for part 2 and comment your favorite new clone. Peace.